knock on the boards, and I think most people were looking at them as something to go fishing from rather than to surf on, since they're always looking for an economical means to go fishing. Here's another spot we found. It's called the Kamogawa Breakwater.
Well, these are bigger, these waves, aren't they?
A little bit bigger than the other spot. It changed. We were there about a month, and the surf here at Kamogawa was good about half that time, which is extremely consistent for surf, more consistent than most of the surfing spots in California. So from what we could observe and what we saw, the surf in Japan is very good, and I'm sure they'll be surfing there shortly. In fact, I've gotten letters since our return, and they were already starting to surf in Japan. It's quite a problem, though, for the people to have a surfboard, say, in Tokyo, and then load it on a train with 1,000 other commuters and get to the beach. So I think surfing there will be done more on a rental basis. They'll have boards at the resort areas and then rent them to the people when they come out.
That's a nice ride by the 12-year-old Pete Johnson.
Right. Here's some shots I took sitting out in the water on my board as they came riding by.
Are you riding with him now?
Right, turned around backwards, riding along in front of Dell here. It's the best way to take pictures because you get to go surfing too. Pete didn't see Dell here, cut back, and then I, of course, jumped to save my own life. Fair-sized wave Dell's on here is probably about 6 feet. It got considerably larger than that one day at Kamogawa and completely closed out or broke all along the beach, so there was no way to get out. The surf gets really big. It's hard to find a place to ride because you have to find a very deep channel that you can paddle out to get to the surf to ride. When it did get this big, we covered as much of the coastline as possible and saw some waves that were well over 20 feet. I'd never seen surf bigger than this except in Hawaii. There was a typhoon making up offshore that caused these huge ground swells.
Well, those are impossible to ride with. They're just breaking straight down.
Straight down onto about a 2-foot rock shelf. Now, if we would have had 3 or 4 days of big surf like this, we could have explored that coastline and found some places I'm sure we could have ridden. But in the shorter time we had, the 1 day of big surf, and the limited amount of coastline you can explore, it's difficult to find a place. So far, the only place we found to ride big waves is in Hawaii, and that's where Dell and Pete were headed back to Hawaii to try and ride some big waves. Said goodbye to the people at the inn where they stayed. They went through this ritual every morning.
It's rather pleasant.
Right, the robes come with the room. Dell had to leave anyway because he was getting corns on his feet. He had the largest wooden sandals they had in Japan, and they still weren't quite big enough.